So if you've been following along with my Obsessed with Plaid series, then you know that I've been working on a mock-up for a blouse that is going to go with the outfit. And today I'm going to get started on the official blouse. So let's get started. Alright, it is time to take this apart so that I can make patterns out of all the extra pieces that I added and move on to the final project. Okay, so now that I have my mock-up pattern traced onto paper, I can go ahead and start cutting out in the real fabric. Now the big test here is to see if I have enough fabric. Alright, I got all the pieces laid out and everything fits, just barely. So now I'm gonna cut it out. I'm scared. So here we have all the pieces cut out, and this is what is left. I think, as usual, I'm going to start with sewing the darts and then moving on to the bodice and then the sleeves. But I think I'm going to try to do French seams this time around, just because this fabric really likes to fray and I'd love to have clean lines on the inside. I've never done French seams before, so this should be interesting, but I will say that this can all be done on the sewing machine. I might decide to do some hand sewing for, you know, parts of the sleeves where the gathered bits are, just to have a little bit more control over it. But for the most part, this will be machine sewn, and so it shouldn't take me that long. But I've said this 1,000 times, and I'm always wrong. So we'll see how it goes. Also, it was like 87 degrees yesterday, Fahrenheit, and now today it is pouring rain. So, you know, we never get bored here in Oregon. So I've already forgotten what I just said about French seams, and have done a small seam that I now need to rip out in order to do a French seam. I need this to work. That'd be great. Alright, so I'm just going to be real quick. I did the sleeves first. Well, I prepared the sleeves first because I got distracted. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take care of darts and then do the bodice, and then I'll attach the sleeves to the bodice like one does. Okay. So I finally ended up going to bed around 2 in the a.m. last night, this morning. And it is now like 2 in the afternoon. But I ended up getting a lot done last night. I have pretty much the bodice put together and the collar is on. And look at all those nice French seams. They look so beautiful. I'm super happy with how they turned out. So now it's really just cleaning up the seams on the bottom and putting the sleeves on. And the sleeves are prepped. I just need to gather them and get them in. But I did realize when I tried this on that for some reason the armholes are a little wonky. They pucker a bit in the back, and it looks like this is just, it's like it's too big right now, and I need to take off like a ½ inch from the top. Let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about. I also need to fix this part of the collar, so don't worry about that. But you can see it does this weird thing, which it didn't do that on the mock-up, so I must have done something with the pattern, but I think it really just needs to take down a little bit and it should be fine. Plus the seam allowance is on there, so I don't need to take much down because it's going to be tucked under, and of course there's going to be a puffy sleeve, so I'm not too worried about it. But I do think that's kind of weird because it definitely wasn't like that on the mock-up. Anywho, I am so very close to done. I think I can actually finish this today. If not finished, then I can get pretty dang close. I think the only things that I might not be able to get done today are the buttons. So I'm really happy with how this is turning out. It is flying by, and I'm gonna just keep plugging along.
However, I have just spent the morning making scrambled eggs in my hair, so I'm not sure that I really care about that, and quite honestly,
All right, look at these sleeves. I feel like a total badass. A late Victorian era badass, but a badass nonetheless. So as you can see, I'm so close to done. Obviously, I did not get to those buttons last night. My eyes were starting to cross and I realized that it was time to go to bed because I don't want to mess this up, because I'm just like, I'm so close to finishing this and doing a good job with it. I didn't want to ruin that by staying up too late and trying to finish it last night. So I'm just so happy with this. It looks great. It fits me well. And the sleeves are amazing. And sewing wise, I think I've done a really good job with it. Like, it is actually done fairly well. And I will say that this was definitely harder than the wool that I've been working with, because it was kind of easier to hide mistakes in the wool because it's like so thick. You could kind of just bury thread in it. Whereas this, it's really easy to see all the mistakes that I made. However, I made very few mistakes in this project compared to my previous projects. I am learning and I'm growing and I am just so excited. And I will say that it has been strange working with the sewing machine since I've been hand sewing for, you know, the past like 3 months. But it was amazing to me how fast this went. I started actually cutting out and sewing this on Monday, and it is now Wednesday. So I could basically finish this in 3 to 4 days, which compared to my other projects is so fast. But I also will say that the sewing machine does scare me a little bit. I've got a lot to learn about the sewing machine, and it moves very fast. So to finish this up, I just need to add those buttons and the buttons on the cuffs, and then I need to work on fixing this area, and I will be done. I sadly won't be able to wear this for another like 5 months because it's getting hot out, and this is toasty. Yeah. But I'll have it in my closet, and I will be so excited when autumn comes around to wear these sleeves because they're rad. And I am so proud of myself. What am I saying? All right, so this has been a long process. And that was mainly because of the mock-up, the mock-up hellhole shit show. I can't say that I enjoyed that process necessarily. It did put me in a little bit of a funk, but I am happy that I went through it. I ended up with something that I'm very proud of, and I ended up with a nice bodice guide for me personally that I can apply to patterns in the future, whether that be the bodice part of a dress or a short sleeve shirt or something else that I need to fit me, and I can just use the pattern that I've made now and adjust it to whatever I need to in the future. And with the mock-up process, I have learned just how important mock-ups are. I've said this in the past, and there are many other sewing YouTubers, costubers that have discussed the importance of mock-ups, and please, for the love of God, do a mock-up. It is so important. And I never realized this in the past when I was like starting to sew, but I always thought that my finished garments would come out being a little off because I just wasn't good at sewing yet. And that wasn't the case. It was because I hadn't experimented enough to get to the point of a great finished garment. I just wanted to speed through it with the final fabric and ended up with a garment that didn't fit me well or was, you know, off in some ways because I didn't go through that experiment process. So please do a mock-up. It will help you achieve an amazing garment, whether you are a beginner or not. As for the final piece, I am so happy with it. I am very happy with the French seams. I think they look really nice. And they also contain the fraying of this fabric. My bow came out. Okay. Anyway, like I said, this fabric frays pretty badly, and I think doing those French seams was a great decision, not only for containing the fray, but also for making the inside look nice and clean. I will say that this is probably the cleanest looking garment on the inside that I've ever made. I might show you guys in a future video some of the garments that I've made in the past and what a mess they are on the inside, so stay tuned for that. So for those of you that are new to sewing, I hope this series has shown you that, you know, you can make pretty good garments as a beginner. And it's so important just to start a project. Without actually sewing, you can't learn how to sew. Your first garments might not be great, but what they are gonna do is teach you. And the mock-up process may not be fun, but you're gonna end up with cleaner, better fitting garments that you're gonna love. So in my next video, I will finally finish this blouse, and then I can go ahead and show you guys the whole outfit put together. I haven't actually worn the vest and the skirt together yet, so I'm really excited to put everything together and style it for you guys. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and leave a comment down below, like this video, or even subscribe. Stay sane, stay safe, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I'll see y'all next time.